Hi, my name is Robin Wong. I'm a photographer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I have with me the Olympus E-M5 Original. In this video, I want to talk about the reasons why I think this is a wow camera. Let's do this! The Olympus E-M5 Original was launched in the year 2012. That's almost 12 years ago now. This camera was significant not just for Olympus and Micro Four Thirds system, but this was a game changer in the world of mirrorless camera system. This was the first mirrorless camera that shows what is truly capable, that mirrorless is indeed the future. The design of this camera, the DNA, the format, this E-M5, it paved the way for future mirrorless cameras from any other brands, say Sony, Fuji, or anyone else, to copy and replicate what makes this camera so special. So in this particular video, I want to explore what made this E-M5 truly a wow camera, and at the same time, I revisited this camera. I paired it with this amazing Olympus 25 f1.8. I did some shutter therapy sessions recently, and here are some fresh photographs. Reason number one, why this E-M5 Original is a wow camera. It's the beautiful camera design. The design of the camera itself is a wow factor. This camera, at the time where all other DSLR cameras are dominant, they look the same, big black box. This camera, it has a vintage design, and Olympus didn't have to look far. They took inspiration from their own film camera, the E-M film cameras, and boy oh boy, this E-M5 looks so beautiful. It just inspires you to pick it up, go out and shoot. That's one of the very important factors that made this camera truly a wow camera. Reason number two, build quality. At a time where the earlier mirrorless cameras days, all the mirrorless cameras are made really small, they look like toys, they're made of plastic, they feel flimsy in hand, in comparison to the larger DSLRs. When you pick it up, you know that they mean serious business. This E-M5 was the first to change that perception. This E-M5 was made of metal construction. The body is magnesium alloy, and to top that up, you have full weather sealing. The camera is sealed against moisture and dust. You can just splash water on it, no problem. And this was the first mirrorless camera to show that, hey, even mirrorless cameras can be serious, it can be solidly built, it can be used in harsh shooting conditions. Reason number three, what made this E-M5 a wow camera was responsiveness. In the earlier days of mirrorless cameras, the mirrorless cameras were known to be slow. When it comes to performance, they can never match DSLRs. Three reasons that held the mirrorless cameras back. One, shooting through the LCD screen. The LCD screen has poor resolution, poor refresh rate, and there is a delay when you look at the screen and what's happening in real life versus the shooting experience using a DSLR. Shooting through the optical viewfinder, everything is instant, right? And then there is the autofocus performance. The contrast detect autofocus performance on the earlier mirrorless cameras were quite slow. They were not on par with DSLR. And then there is the shutter lag. All this just adds to the experience that mirrorless cameras are slow. Now this E-M5 breaks these expectations. Not only the LCD screen is high in resolution, it's fast, it also has an electronic viewfinder. The resolution is also really good and it's virtually almost lag-free. And the autofocus at that time, the E-M5 had the fastest autofocus. There were some people doing comparison between the E-M5 and the Canon 1DX side by side, and the E-M5 seems to be on par or as fast as the Canon's flagship 1DX, which costs like, I don't know, like 5 times or 7 times more than this E-M5. And of course, shutter lag was quite minimal. This E-M5 changed the perception that mirrorless camera is slow and can be high-performing cameras if you need that camera to be fast. Reason number 4 why this E-M5 was a wow camera was the new image sensor. Olympus introduced a new 16 megapixels image sensor in this E-M5. Before this camera, the 12 megapixels old image sensor in Olympus cameras is dated. It was recycled from the 4/3 DSLR time. It is showing its age in terms of resolution, dynamic range, and high ISO performance. That was severely lagging behind competition. There is a huge gap if you compare Micro Four Thirds system versus any other camera systems, whether it's full frame or APS-C DSLRs. You just can't deny it. Any other cameras, they perform way better when it comes to image quality. And then came along this E-M5. The new 16 megapixels image sensor, not only it gives a significant boost in resolution from 12 megapixels to 16 megapixels, that was quite significant at that time. But in terms of dynamic range and high ISO low light shooting, there was clearly one stop or more improvement. And this puts this Micro Four Thirds system very, very close to APS-C DSLRs, even the best in class at that time. There was some differences, of course. I'm not saying that this E-M5 has surpassed APS-C performance, but that minor difference is negligible. And this makes this Micro Four Thirds E-M5 truly a compelling camera, truly a wow camera. Even a lot of full-frame DSLR users at that time, of course, they are not throwing their DSLR cameras away, but it was interesting enough for them to pick up the E-M5 just to see what the fuss is all about. Reason number 5. 5-axis image stabilization. This Olympus E-M5 was the first camera to feature the 5-axis image stabilization, and this is built into the image sensor, which means whatever lens is attached on this camera will enjoy the benefits of the 5-axis image stabilization. And look at where it is today. I don't even have to convince you on the benefits of this 5-axis image stabilization, because if it is not important, if it doesn't benefit photography in general, then why is every single camera out there, all cameras from any brands, any mirrorless cameras from Nikon, from Canon, from Sony, from Fuji, you can see that the top tier cameras or the most serious cameras that they release, they all have some sort of 5-axis image stabilization in their cameras. It all started from this E-M5. I think this E-M5 was the future, and this E-M5 was truly a wow camera, and it showed the future of what mirrorless cameras can be. I personally think that this is the right time to look back at this significant product in the Olympus Micro Four Thirds history, the original E-M5, why it was so successful, why this was a game changer, and what made this truly a wow camera. It is such a beautiful camera, taking inspiration from the old film camera design, and yet it has a lot of amazing features. It is built with magnesium alloy body, it is weather sealed, it has incredible image quality in the 16 megapixels image sensor. sensor at that time is fast performing, has fast autofocus, built-in electronic viewfinder, and it features 5-axis image stabilization. All of this in a truly tiny, compact form factor, a camera that truly inspires you to pick it up, to go out and shoot. Well, what happened after that? We don't get so many wow cameras from Olympus anymore, and now OM System or OM Digital Solutions, they have taken over. We haven't seen a truly wow camera yet. My hope is that they will somehow recapture the glory days of this E-M5 and truly give us a camera that will break boundaries, will push the imaging limits, and truly show us again what the future of the mirrorless cameras can be. Micro Four Thirds was the pioneer of mirrorless cameras. They have introduced a lot of new technologies back then, and I still think that OM Digital Solutions, as well as Panasonic in this Micro Four Thirds community, I think that they can take the lead again, and they can come up with a new wow camera, and I do want to see that happen. All they have to do is just look back at what they did with this E-M5 original, look at what made this camera a wow camera, and maybe take some ideas from here and give us a wow camera next. That's all I have to share about why I think this Olympus E-M5 original is a wow camera. Do you think that this E-M5 is a wow camera? Do you agree with my argument? Do let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If you've enjoyed looking at my photographs, if you found my sharing beneficial, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal. Links in the description below on how you can do that. Any small contribution goes a long way, will definitely help me to make more content. Until the next one, please go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.